Growing up, I always enjoyed media about a team of characters with different powers and skills, with signature colors, working together to save the world. Things like Power Rangers, Bionicle, Ninjago, Avatar, Teen Titans, and I especially appreciate similar stories with this overall cheery aesthetic that also incorporates slightly more darker undertones later in the series, such as Madoka Magica, the Star Guardians universe from League of Legends, and also Bionicle. I'm serious, man, read the books. There was a lot going on for media that was targeted towards kids. But yeah, I'm all about that teamwork, superpowers, snarky one-liners, and iconic transformation sequences. So about 2 months ago, back at the end of February, I decided yet again to abandon my current game dev project for another game dev project. This time, a turn-based Power Rangers / Super Sentai RPG. With action commands, of course, but I'll get to that later. My main game engine of choice is Construct 3. I've been using it for a bit over 3 years now, and finally feel like I'm at the point where I can potentially release a full game. The engine has its ups and downs, but it's been very easy to pick up and learn, due to it being a visual coding language that uses very little raw code, which is great for me because I'm a visual learner, and sometimes staring at walls of text in other programming languages just makes my brain want to shut down. Construct 3 is also a web-based engine that allows me to code from pretty much any device with an internet connection, which is really great for me in my life. I sometimes feel like a lesser game developer because while most programmers I know create actual code that looks like this, my stuff looks like this. But after 3+ years of using the engine and winning a game jam competition with a video game I created in this software, I learned that it's not about the tools you have, it's about how you use them. So in this video, we will be reviewing my first few days of development. On my first day, I started off with these two basic shapes, one representing our player character, and the purple representing an enemy. When we run into the enemy, a battle ensues in a whole new arena. Firstly, for my game's battle system to be turn-based, I gave every unit, which just means every player character or enemy character, a speed stat variable, along with other typical video game stats like health, strength, defense, etc. Then I added a boolean variable to every unit called has acted and another boolean called is acting. A boolean is a variable that can only be true or false, yes or no, 1 or 0, black or white, or in the case of my game, check or unchecked. After creating these variables, I created a function called next-to-act. A function in programming is basically a chunk of self-contained code that you can easily run without having to type that same chunk of code over and over and over again. You can even put functions inside of functions, which you'll see shortly. In the next-to-act function, I programmed the game to go through every unit and select the unit with the highest speed stat that has not acted yet. It selects that unit to act, and if this unit that is acting is one of the player characters, the menu box appears and the player can perform an action, like attacking. Then once we attack, another function named endAction automatically activates. This function takes the unit that is currently acting and sets their boolean has acted to true, then runs the next-to-act function again. This time, however, since the unit we just attacked with has had its has acted boolean set to true, the game will skip over this unit and find the next unit with the highest speed stat that has not acted. And this process repeats until the game can no longer find any units that have not acted yet. Once this happens, the function resets and unchecks everyone's has acted boolean and adds 1 turn to the counter, and the cycle repeats until the battle is over. I'm not a professional game designer or a programmer or anything like that, so I'm not sure if there's a more efficient way to make a turn-based system, but this is just what I came up with, and it works, and that's all that matters. And I hope this explanation made sense to you guys. Next, I'm going to show you guys this very basic RPG command menu I made with only 5 options: attack, abilities, special, items, and tactics. In this earlier point of the project, the menu box is only orange, but later in the project you'll see that I edited this so that the box changes color based on who is acting in your party. But at this point, at the beginning of the project, there's no health, no mana, or any other resource. All we can really do is attack and end our turn by selecting tactics. I cooked up this prototype in a day to see if I finally had enough logical programming experience and game design knowledge to make my own turn-based RPG system with action commands. Action commands are a sort of rare, although slowly becoming more common, type of mechanic in RPG games where you usually have to time a button press or do a small little minigame to perform actions or attacks. Action commands are most famously recognized in games like the Mario & Luigi series, Super Mario RPG, the recent Sea of Stars game, and of course, the Paper Mario series. And ooh man, if y'all know about me, y'all know I'm so excited for the Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door remake coming out May 23rd. It's my favorite game of all time. Just 3 more weeks, baby! Anywho. Basically, unlike a game like Pokemon where you press the attack button you want to use and just watch the Pokemon fight, In a game with action commands, you actually have to actively be pressing buttons. To add action commands to my own game, I created this placeholder animation of this red cube slashing an orange stick that is 31 frames long from when the player selects to attack an enemy. Then I created a system check to where if the player presses the spacebar while the animation is on or between frames 22 to 26 of the animation, the attack is considered a success and deals 2 points of damage instead of 1. Seems simple, right? Well, one of the things you learn as a programmer is to think of every possible scenario, or at least as many as you can. I also had to account for if the player either missed the timing by pressing the button too early or too late, and I had to account for if the player simply didn't press anything at all. Before I added these checks to the game, the only way the player could do damage was if the command was successful. Now you will still do at least 1 damage even if you mess up. I spent a couple of days fixing bugs in my program, and then I eventually added on a character sprite for our Red Ranger. I bought this neat character pack asset on itch.io and modified the proportions for the Rangers to have a thinner build and drew out my own characters. And I eventually removed the helmets of my characters because they were looking dangerously close to official Power Ranger suits, and as much as my game is obviously inspired from that franchise, I definitely want my game to have its own identity. Plus, the scenes in Power Rangers where they didn't have their helmets on were always super cool as a kid. Also, don't ever be afraid to use free assets for your own game. It'll save you so much time in the long run. When I was first making games, I fell into the trap of trying to create every little thing 100% by myself, and that would always burn me out. You don't need to reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. It's like trying to create a Lego set, but you're making the individual pieces themselves with your own melted plastic and shape molds. Like, that would just be ridiculous and unnecessary. Once I animated the sprites and added them into the game, the project started feeling way more like a real video game, and it gave me an awesome feeling of joy. There's a lot more I added to the game to get it where it is today, but even now there's still a lot more I need to add, like actual enemy designs, a mana or resource system, special team attacks, items, blocking enemy attacks, and just way more things that'll make this an actual video game. Plus, you can't actually lose any of the fights in the game right now. If your health drops below 0, nothing happens. That's why I'm a bit far from releasing a demo for this game, but I absolutely want you guys to be able to play it as soon as possible. That's why I'm going to be starting a semi-weekly-ish game dev series to revive my channel, as I really miss making YouTube videos. So make sure to subscribe to be notified when I upload again. In the next episode, I'll go into more detail on how I programmed abilities with more specific action commands for my game. Make sure to leave a like and comment what you'd like to see next for this untitled game. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hold up, stop the outro. This is me from the future, or the present, I guess. And I actually did come up with a name for this game. I'm going to be calling it Super Sentinels. So I just wanted to put that in there. Okay, alright, you can go back to the end of the video now.